And we are back here on the Rome Show. We are sorry for the technical difficulties. Listen, I think we talk about this every week. Like, these things are going to happen. We're streaming the show. It's 2021, but we're back. And we decided that we're just going to take Rocky's frozen face off the screen, and we're just going to have him dial in. So, Rocky, do we have you on the Rome Show 360 Management Services call-in line right now?
Oh, you know it. I'm here.
Okay. Let's get back to what you were doing in Rocky's rundown.
And we were talking about, I just wrote the Steelers, haha, before I was about to get into some other stuff.
So elaborate on why you're laughing at the Steelers while I choke on this coffee I'm drinking.
So it's just funny because, you know, we got this whole debate about Ben Roethlisberger. And midway through, you know, the morning games yesterday or the afternoon games, it's about, you know, first quarter, I get an alert on my phone, and it's like an ESPN pop-up alert, and it goes, watch Ben Roethlisberger defy the odds and throw a 50-yard touchdown pass.
What odds is he defying?
Age.
Yes. But which is funny though, right? Because can you really say, and maybe Tom Brady has made this a little bit more difficult for us, but can you really say that age is an insanely huge factor because we have guys that are 41 years old that are playing football still?
No, age is only a factor for certain people.
Yeah, and I think it's not, I don't know if I would call it an excuse, but it's an easy fallback on when a veteran quarterback, and it's probably a lot of it is why it happens to some degree, but Ben Roethlisberger isn't defying odds because he's old. He is essentially just playing out the last year of his career. So what that headline should have said is Ben Roethlisberger throws 60-yard touchdown pass, and then we move on. That's really what it should have been.
Yeah, the only difference between Roethlisberger and Brady, though, is, like, it's obvious, like, Tom Brady takes care of his body. Like, Big Ben still he rocks a dad on the field, so.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's like, you know, that might come into play, but you said this one of the first shows we had this show season, I should call it, Rocky, and you said at the end of the day, somehow, some way, the Steelers find a way to be in the playoff conversation, and just when you think it might be the first year where it's not going to happen, they win this game, and you're like, hey, you know what? We'll find out.
You always find out. The Steelers are one of those teams that are never out of it. So I wrote the Steelers down. The next one I had was absolute insanity. It was a ton of fun to watch. But watching the Packers Bengals and Mason Crosby and I can't remember the kicker's name on the Bengals. So I actually don't follow kickers until yesterday. Missed 5 field goals at the end of the game to push that game into overtime was incredible.
And did you know that at the first field goal that Mason Crosby made in that game was his 27th straight field goal made in regulation? He then misses his first field goal in 27 tries and then continues to miss 3 straight. Mind-blowing stuff.
He also started the game by missing an extra point.
Well, you know what I'm going to do right now, Rock? This is unprecedented on the Rome Show. But your Rockies rundown is just, it's a favorite of mine now that we've started this on the Rome Show. I'm going to give you one of my Romey awards right now while you're on the show because I think that you're going to enjoy this one and it's going to be very relatable to what you're talking about right now. Okay? Okay, so one of the 3 Romey awards I'll be handing out today is your dumpster fire of the week. Okay? And this week, your dumpster fire of the week is place kicking in the NFL. As Rocky just mentioned, the Packers and the Bengals combined for 5 missed field goals, but it didn't stop there, Rocky. 8 kickers combined to miss 12 extra points. Like, take the field goals out of it. 8 kickers combined to miss 12 extra points in week 5 of the NFL season, which isn't over yet, by the way. So if an extra point is missed tonight in the Monday Night Football game, you will then have the new NFL record. That is now tied for the NFL record, which was set in week 5, weird, of the week 11 of the 2016 season. I can't read. And that was the first year that the PAT was moved back from the 3-yard line to the 15-yard line. So you can kind of understand why the record was set in that year, but why this is still a problem is crazy.
It's amazing. And like, between the missed extra points and the sack fumbles in the first half of the 1 o'clock games yesterday, it's like Scott Hansen's head was about to blow off on NFL Red Zone.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is crazy. He's like, we've had 3 missed extra points and 3 sack fumbles in the first quarter. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if we've ever seen it.
And
but think about this, too. Oh, go ahead.
It trickles down to the college level is all I was going to say, right? You and I were a little bit engaged with the college on Saturday more than we normally are, and I'm watching these dudes just absolutely shank like 32-yard field goals. The kicking is just, it's very down right now.
Yeah, well, listen, you move the kick back, so it's harder, right? So it's more mentally challenging. And then, like, over the course of history, just the increase in media coverage just kills people. Like, this is seriously a mental disaster. It has nothing to do with physical ability, right? Because they can all kick, right? It's not like they can't kick the ball or through the uprights. They do it literally every day at practice. Like, this is purely a mental disaster for field goal kickers across America.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And like, as a head coach, like, I was going to come on today, and one of my, I'm just giving them all away because we're going to lose you in 7 minutes. So I want you to hear these. But one of my morning hotcakes is, yeah, the Chargers are looking for a new kicker because like you're down by 1 against the Browns instead of kicking an extra point to go ahead 1 point against the Browns because you got a place kicker that can't kick an extra point. And then when you have to play comeback because your defense was Swiss cheese the other day, then all of a sudden it's 42-41. Justin Herbert and the boys are furiously making comebacks just to keep this team in the game, which they eventually won. And you miss the extra point to tie the game. Like,
I know.
How unreliable can you be if you can't do the one thing? It's like a free throw in basketball.
And exactly. And it's the next epidemic in football, in my opinion. And that's the Browns' just pure lack of want to try and get a first down when you're up by 1.
Yeah, what was that?
Less than 3. I see it everywhere. It's not the Browns. It's everyone. It's the same type of mentality that loses you the game, that lost the Detroit Lions the game, right? That lack of, and it's in the opener, the lack of 2-minute defense in the NFL is incredible to me. The mindset and the analytics that say it's better for you to run 3 plays, go 3 and out, and let the other team waste their time out, and then you play defense to only give up the game winning. Like, what analytics says that works? Because I feel like I see it lose more times than I see it win. And I wish I could like actually have a number to it, because now it just sounds like I'm a fan. But at the same time, like, there's not one person who could listen to that and say, no, I agree with that.
I agree with you. And on top of it, right, if you're a football team that is 0-4, like the Detroit Lions, like, I'm doing everything. I'm going for 4th downs all the time. I'm playing so aggressive because you have to think, no team late in the game wants to be in a battle with an 0 and whatever team. Like, I'm thinking about it next week with the Dolphins. I don't want the Dolphins to play Jacksonville in London. It's the perfect time for Jacksonville to get their first win. And now I'm sitting here, although I did say it earlier, so maybe I want Jacksonville to win. Like, why not? Let's get the first pick, because this team clearly needs something if we lose our starter who we weren't sure about, and now we're all of a sudden 4 straight losses.
Yeah, for sure. And the sad part about the Lions is that they were aggressive, right? They went for 2.
And they have been.
They took the lead. Right? They go for 2 instead of the tie. And then with 30 seconds left, I mean, you kick the ball through the end zone. Okay, fine. You start on the 25, or you kick it to them and you try and tackle them before the 25.
Yeah.
Right? I get the kick. You have to stop. You essentially, as an NFL defense, your job is to stop for one time someone doing a minimum of 30 yards.
Right.
Right? Like, that's all you have to do is stop them from going 30 yards.
It's mind-blowing that it didn't. I never feel like I witness a team offense score with like a minute and 12 left, and the other team has 1 timeout and a minute 12, and then that team that was up by 1 that just took the lead ever win that football game, ever.
Well, look at the Browns. I mean, look at the Browns. The Browns defense pushed the Chargers running back into the end zone for the same reason you just said. They're like, no, we got plenty of time. Baker's our quarterback. We're good.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? No, come on. Yeah, come on. Get in the end zone.
Like,
we need to get the ball
get
back.
in the end zone.
Yeah.
But, like, it's literally like, hey, listen, if I have more than a minute, I'm going down for a field goal. I got this. No big deal.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a quarterback, I'm going down for a field goal.
Right.
It's crazy. So there we go. We covered the Lions. All right. And I got, like, do you think that the Jags, if the Jags played the Lions, or if you're just looking at it, right? Like, who's worse? Is Dan Schneider or Urban Meyer worse? Or are these teams just really, really lacking talent?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Because think about it. You've got Jared Goff
right
playing quarterback,
Yep.
who everyone thinks is good enough to be an NFL quarterback, better than most of the starters in the league. And then you've got Trevor Lawrence, who is supposed to be the next best franchise quarterback we've ever seen in the NFL. So you've got talented guys behind, behind the dish, but they're not behind the dish. They're behind center.
I think that it's a combination of both. I think that at the end of the day, not the right talent, or not enough, let's put it that way, not enough of the right talent is in the building to be able to compete with the better teams in the league and be able to get yourself out of the basement of either your division or your conference and even begin to sniff a 500 record, then get to the playoffs. I think that could be the first thing. I think part of it's coaching. I really, truly do believe that. I think, and I'm not just saying this because I am a coach. We've had this talk before a bunch of times, but I think in the NFL, it is one of those sports where coaching matters so much extremely more than so many others because there's just so many players. There's so much organization to it. There's so many different things that can happen in the game of football that if your head coach and his staff are not consistently developing, because let's be serious, how many teams are really trotting out an insane amount of first-round draft picks? Not a lot. And if you are, it probably also means you're terrible and you need to develop those guys. So I feel like it comes down to a combination of both. I think for this year, like when I look at the Jaguars and I look at some of these other, like the Detroit Lions and the Jags, I don't put them in the same division because do I think Dan Schneider's a nut job? Yeah, but he's clearly doing a good job at that Detroit team because they've come out for 5 straight weeks and competed. And if they had 3 or 4 more talented players, they might be 3-2 instead of 0-5. Whereas Jacksonville, and I'm going to get into Urban Meyer in a little bit because he's straight off my roam today because he's a tool. But either way, he's not a good head coach. He's terrible, actually. So no wonder that team looks brutal. And you probably have the same talent level, but you have a guy in Dan Schneider that's actually developing. Yeah, Jared Goff is a little bit more established than Trevor Lawrence, but I think over time Trevor Lawrence is better. So I think it's a combo, Rock.
It is. It is a combo. And I want to give praise. And based on those two reactions and these two teams, you have to give praise to two organizations. First, you have to give praise to the Arizona Cardinals. And I heard it on one of the countdown shows yesterday, right? You have to give praise to the Cardinals for hiring a coach, drafting a quarterback, and firing both of them year one and saying, doesn't matter. I don't care what the norm says. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I'm going to get the guys that I think are the guys. And they have now turned out, at this point in the season, turned out to be the guys, right? So you have to give them credit. And then you also have to give the Buffalo Bills credit for what they've done with Josh Allen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
people were down on Allen the first year.
And by the way, like two very similar stories, like very big question marks for both of those quarterbacks. Probably less for Kyler, but more about his off the field stuff. But the fact that like they are both just playing at such a high level right now and have their teams in first place, like you've got to think like you can't like, yes, they're great talent, but like those organizations rebuilt themselves. It looks to be the right way at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And when it comes to football, and I don't care what you want to tell me, it starts with the guy behind center, and it goes from there. If you don't have a guy behind center and you don't have like 8 to 10 legitimate offensive and defensive linemen, I don't care. Don't talk to me about skill position players. Don't talk to me about cornerbacks and safeties and coverage. And I know all that stuff's important, but to me, it goes quarterback, trenches, linebackers, running game. Then I'm looking for those weapons. Every team that I watch that is good gets after the quarterback and protects their quarterback.
Yep, it's really really impressive, and I think that their weapons are really interesting, right? Like DeAndre Hopkins, why are you on the Arizona Cardinals and not on the Houston Texans? Stephon Diggs, why are you on the Buffalo Bills and on the Minnesota Vikings? Right? Like you've got like two guys like that like they couldn't like. How did those franchises look at those two guys and like, I can't have you on my roster because like I can't figure this out?
But
like,
that's the same reason. It's the same thing you asked the question about before, though, right? Like we're talking about Jacksonville and Detroit. It's because of decisions like that that teams end up sucking. Like Bill O'Brien was the head coach of the Texans. He was mad at DeAndre Hopkins. Why? No one has any idea. Well, now Bill O'Brien's out of a job. And like it's like, and you just traded away you just screwed the franchise for years because you were mad at a guy, and 6 months later you weren't even in the position to make that decision anymore.
Craziness. Listen, I've got nothing else on the rundown other than OBJ, all those points scored, only 2 catches, very eye opening, and he's been in the lineup for 2 weeks, which is interesting as well. And then finally, as I told you earlier, hockey is back this week. This Rocky is really pumped about it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Rocky's Rundown.
Yeah, it's exceptional stuff. Wow. Phenomenal Rocky's Rundown. I'm super pumped about hockey season. I think the Devils are going to be exciting. I don't know if legit's the right word. They're young, but they look young and exciting.
The Metropolitan Division of the NHL will be an absolute blast to watch.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely will. Rock, that rundown was fantastic. I tell you what, I don't know about the Romo Sapiens, but I love the rundown. I think it's fantastic for the people. We need more of it, and I tell you what, we appreciate the energy you're bringing to us on Monday morning, man.
You can find me, everywhere that you listen to your podcast. You can find us on 12 Ounce Sports on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Zingo TV, and you're going to get it every morning, Monday a.m., 7 a.m.
True professional you are with that right there. It's just true professional. I love that drop right there.
I mean, you teed me up for it. I gotta, I got a Callaway freeway. I'm gonna bomb it down the fairway. You know what I'm saying?
Bomb it down the fairway, bleepers. Do you have to leave us now, Rocky?
I do. I've got to get the kids ready, and I've got to host my own morning show, but the work edition.
Oh, that's exciting stuff. Give us your last take before you get out of here, and then say goodbye to the Romo Sapiens.
Last take, another week in the NFL and another week where the Sunday night game outshadows the Monday night game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh,
Al Michaels for the win.
Do you have a pick, by the way, for Monday Night Football?
Go Colts, bro.
Go Colts. All right. You can text me your score, and I'll let the Romo Sapiens know. I think I won last week, by the way.
Yeah. I got smoked.
Just saying. All right.
Wasn't even a contest.
Hey, enjoy your morning show. Go get ADP locked and loaded up there in the Empire State region, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Later. And that is Rocky Romanella, co-host of the show. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, when we made the decision with 12 Ounce Sports Radio to move to Monday mornings, unfortunately, that meant that we may not be able to have our co-host buddy, Rocky, with us for the whole hour and a half show. He's a working father, which I'm sure a lot of the people listening to the show can relate to. He's working his way up the ladder in a very nice way at ADP. We'll let him disclose what he wants to disclose about his job. And he's killing it. So if that means we have to lose a little bit of time with him on the Rome Show, what we will guarantee is that he will always give you a Rockies rundown. And there was some interesting stuff there, and I wanted to